Hey, what's up? Welcome back, everybody. You know what this is. You're tuning back in to Muslim and Black in America, M.A.B.I.A. I'm your host, Bilal Abdullah. Assalamu alaikum to all the Muslims out there listening. I just wanted to say thank you all for supporting my YouTube channel. Thank you all for supporting and playing and listening to these episodes and broadcasts and video essays that I do. I really appreciate that. This is something I always love to do. As I said last episode, I really like doing this. And, I also wanted to say everybody has sins, man. So don't think because I'm sitting up here talking about things that are affecting us, the world, black people in America, calling out certain people and their issues. Don't think that I don't have sins. And I ask all the believers out there to make dua for me if you haven't been doing that. Make dua for me that Allah forgives me and pardon me of my sins, and He forgives me in this life and in the next for my sins, and that He pardons me in this life and the next for my sins, because pardon is greater than forgiving. And some people hit me up and telling me of their shortcomings, and I pray that Allah gives them the strength to overcome their issues as well, because I'm definitely not perfect. And none of us are. And as I tweeted earlier this morning, sometimes it sucks waking up in the morning knowing that you're a human and you got a whole bunch of sins on you. But Allah is the most merciful. Allah is the one who forgives. So we also must remember that as well. If you like the channel, if you want to support M.A.B.I.A, then you can hit the link in the description for donations. It's Tsunami Slim. That's my Twitter page name. A young Muslim brother told me, he said, hey man, if you rearrange the letters in your name, of your Twitter name, it spells out Muslim Saint. I didn't even notice that, but that's kind of dope. So it all works out. But yeah, that's the Cash App, Tsunami Slim, if you want to donate. This is something I always love to do. I would love to get paid for researching and basically being a news reporter, basically, and like an editorial news reporter type person. I love doing that, and that's something I would love to get paid for. So it's not a must, but that would be greatly appreciated. Hope everybody had a good week. I had a good week. Kind of fell off on my diet for the gym and all of that stuff, but we gonna get it back, inshallah ta'ala. Let's get it in. Well, looks like I was correct about Kavanaugh and his whole charade they put up in front of the people. It looks like he's going to be confirmed as a Supreme Court judge, which is not surprising to me. What this case revealed to me is that the FBI is at the beck and call of this president, and that they are full of white supremacists. I say this because when the FBI was supposed to do this 10-day probe, which to me isn't a long enough probe, the White House came out and said how they want the FBI to only interview certain people and not interview others. I guess they figured the people wouldn't call them out on that, and they did. And so the White House came out later again to do damage control and say, oh, well, we were just giving suggestions. We weren't actually ordering them what to do. Yet NBC News reported that dozens of people who said they had information about Kavanaugh had contacted the FBI, but had not been allowed to be interviewed. They said it seemed like the FBI was not interested in their accounts. Deborah Ramirez says she was contacted by the FBI for an interview after she was denied one for 5 days. But she said it wasn't a thorough interview, and that the people who were key to corroborating her story were not even contacted. She says at a party, he meaning Kavanaugh, got drunk and gyrated his private parts in front of her face and made her touch it. And there are several other people who claim sexual assault as well and can corroborate her stories. But as I said, these will all be swept under the rug. And sure enough, the U.S. Senate has advanced his nomination to a final vote, And recently, we just found out that he has been voted into the Supreme Court. So there you have it. When your white supremacist friend is the president, you're going to get the job. I knew it was all over when I saw his girl behind him throwing up the white supremacy hand signal. That was a red flag right there. But these politicians having these allegations against them is not surprising to me. In my opinion, if you're a high-level politician or entertainer or something of importance that makes big money or super high-level status, you done did some foul stuff to get there. A lot of these folks have these mansion parties, quote unquote, where they have these orgies and get drunk and, such as a way for them to all have something over each other. Then I wondered, he said he went to Yale. I wondered if he was a part of the Skull and Bones Secret Society. I went and looked. Nope. But he is a part of a loosely organized fraternity called Honor and Courage. And everyone at that school said basically what they did, this Honor and Courage frat, what they did was basically get hella drunk and party hard. They making all this money. When you're making all this money and having all this power, these type of mansion parties, it's a way to keep checks and balances. It's something the Shaitan, in my opinion, advised them would be a good idea to do to keep checks and balances on super rich and powerful people. It reminds me of how Shaitan influenced the people of Lot to commit sodomy on the men. I was reading in the Tafsir of Ibn Kathir that when people would come to the city, they would take some fruit from the trees and eat it, and other times, and eat it at other times, and eat it and not pay for it. They felt like they were stealing. So Iblis came to them and said, well, hey, if you don't want them stealing your stuff, when you catch them, you should sodomize them and they won't do it again. When you are already astray and doing other sins, then such a suggestion will make sense to you as a way to keep checks and balances on those who steal. In the same way here, in their minds, having these mansion parties to have certain things over people's heads is a perfect way to keep checks and balances on those with power, authority, and money. But see, the thing is, that system, as sinful as it is still rigged with racism, because they'll take down the Cosby, but won't take down the Kavanaughs. There are witnesses the FBI refuses to contact and interview, which shows that even though the White House said, hey, you can do interviews, you can interview whoever you want, after they tried to control the investigation, shows me that they really are controlling the investigation. But what's crazy is what I just read in regards to Kavanaugh and these allegations. I heard from a good brother that Imam Zayc was comparing this situation to the situation of Aisha radiallahu anha, our mother. What? A'udhu billah. I searched it and it was a Facebook post, and sure enough, it was there. You can check the post out on my Twitter page, and I may put the link to it on the blog. It's a super long post of House Muslim babble trying to use the Quran to substantiate his own wild thoughts. He says in one part of his long rant, as for Dr. Ford's accusations, they cannot be used as evidence against Judge Kavanaugh. That is so for a number of reasons. I will confine myself to those which are rooted in Muslim teachings. We read in the Quran, those who bring charges of sexual improprieties against chaste women, then fail to come forth with 4 corroborating witnesses, lash them 80 times and never again accept their testimony. Such are truly corrupt. He gives the verse, chapter 24, verse 4. He continues, we do, however, demand that she, Dr. Ford, produces corroborating witnesses. Were she to do so, we would say she has a legitimate claim which we could support and rally behind. Since she has not, we silently avoid voicing any opinion on the issue, and if we do speak, we do so with a skeptical voice. Other than that, we can pray for her and urge her to be patient. End quotes. Bruh, what? First off, I don't know if this woman is chaste. We don't know that. Second off, the woman does have witnesses that can corroborate her stories, which the Quran says we need for us to take it seriously, but the FBI refuses to interview them. And many others have come forward as well. But hold on, he goes even further. He then goes on to say how caution should be taken when accusing someone of sexual assault, which is true, and says, secondly, some may argue that the accusation intended in this verse is that of fornication. He goes on and says, but an air of extreme caution should be maintained in slanderous cases involving sexual improprieties. This is true, but you just let us know that we need these witnesses, corroborating witnesses, to come forward so that we can take these allegations seriously. And she has many. So that means we should take these allegations seriously, correct? So now you're just kind of throwing it off to the side, disregarding it. And it's just weird. He then goes on to speak about the following verses and says how these verses refer to Aisha, radiallahu anha, when people started a rumor about her being involved with a young man who escorted her out of the desert after she had been separated from the Prophet's caravan. So yes, he is comparing the situation of Kavanaugh to that of Aisha radiallahu anha. It's plain as day. Didn't I tell y'all about these house Muslims a month ago? It's not surprising because he's also clicked up with Hamza Yusuf, who also was a house Muslim who even worked with Bush. I could kind of see how if someone, even a non-Muslim, is totally innocent, or there isn't a history of them doing major wrongs and being caught out there, that if someone accused them of a wrong, you could maybe use those verses to kind of bring light to the topic. But this man, as I said before, has a few accusers. Speaking of Kavanaugh, he was in a frat that all they did was drink hard and party hard. And that's why when he was asked if he ever drank until he passed out, he didn't want to answer the question really. And finally, to me, lied and said he never had or doesn't remember doing so. But when you black out, you don't remember. So the accusers have corroborating witnesses who the FBI doesn't even want to witness, as I've been saying. The White House even had to step in and help control the investigation to save him. And you got some chick throwing up white supremacy hand signals behind him. In no way is this relatable to Aisha radiallahu anha. Period. That's how low you have to stoop to save the character of some racist kafir. You have to compare this dishonorable kafir to our chaste mother Aisha radiallahu anha. Aisha wasn't partying. Aisha wasn't part of some secret society. Aisha didn't drink alcohol. Aisha wasn't a fornicatress. Aisha wasn't free mixing. Aisha was a wife of the Prophet and an honorable woman. May Allah be pleased with her. That people started a rumor about. A rumor. It wasn't no corroborating witnesses. So it's totally incomparable. How dare you insult our mother like that? And then also, you're trying to sweep his allegations under the rug when there's strong evidence against him, as if it was just a rumor. He knew he was in the wrong, Zayc Shacker. He knew he was in the wrong too, because he ended up deleting the post and writing an apology letter. And the apology was still on some victim blaming, not really an apology stuff, and was still trying to argue for not giving allegations against Kavanaugh. Now by using the story of Yusuf and the king's wife who tried to sexually take advantage of him. Dog. Like, come on, dog. I'm done, bro. I'm tired of these Imam Toms in the pulpit trying to protect white zaddy. He wrote all this mumbo jumbo for what? To come to the aid of some white man who's associated with white supremacists. And we know white supremacists are prone to sexual assault and rape. They have a history of it. Why didn't you write all this bullcrap in regards to Bill Cosby? A black man whose case was very, very doubtful and is wrapped up in some deep behind the scenes stuff. If you follow Tariq Nasheed, he did the whole thread on this and he did a show on this on his Twitter page. But I'll put that in the link, on my blog page as well. I may put it in the description on the YouTube page as well. And even the woman that tried to accuse Bill Cosby says she consented to taking the pills. Like, it's so much about this case that shows you they had no evidence whatsoever. The only evidence they had against him was committing adultery, but these women consented. So even then, I wouldn't have liked him. I wouldn't have liked Zayc Shacker trying to, finagle the whole Quranic verses in Aisha. But damn, dog, at least like in the Bill Cosby situation, you got some kind of leeway to do that. Why are you doing all of this for a suspected white supremacist, bro? This Zaycuna Institute, what are they going to produce? They're not going to produce revolutionary minds who change their communities with Islam. They're going to produce passive Muslims who are down with and making excuses for this system, not standing up against the injustices of the people, especially black people, or calling it out directly, calling out white supremacy directly. That's their name, Zaycuna Institute. Now y'all might say to me, "Oh, brother Bilal, you wildin'." But this ain't the first time Zayc Shacker came to the defense of Zaddy. Back in 2016, when his homeboy Hamza Yusuf made his statement about the Black Lives Matter movement, which I don't agree with the actual Black Lives Matter movement, but I understand the Black Lives Matter thought, meaning Black Lives Matter, meaning let's bring focus to black issues of police brutality, injustice, and killings. But I'm not down with the Black Lives Matter movement with, D. Ray and all that. I'm not down with that. But Hamza Yusuf made this statement about the Black Lives Matter movement. He said, quote, "A lot of the problems in the United States with the black community being shot by the police, I mean, we have about 15,000 to 18,000 homicides a year. 50% are black on black crime. Literally." There's that "what about black on black crime" when talking about police brutality statement. This is misleading anyway because crimes are done by proximity. So black on black crime is just a made up term to insult black people and to make an excuse to kill them via police brutality. And this is what is being insinuated here. How come we never hear the term white on white crime or Mexican crime or Asian crime? But that's not the only thing Mr. Hamza of the Zaycuna Institute said. He went on to say about police brutality against blacks, quote, "There are twice as many whites that have been shot by police, but nobody ever shows those videos. It's an assumption that police are racist." Well, first off, Mr. Hamza Useless, it's been proven that by the FBI themselves, who are also infiltrated by white supremacists, but the FBI themselves came out with information that police forces all across America have been infiltrated by racists. So, and then we're not even going to talk about how recently many people have been caught wearing Proud Boys t-shirt under their police gear, wearing racist other forms of gear under their police gear. So come on with that. Again, Mr. Yusuf deflects from the issue. And again, he's playing with numbers because many of those white men pulled out weapons on the police and had to be shot. We're talking about unarmed black people that get killed or either excessive force is overly used. And that's still not it. This man, he went on to say about Trump, God is in charge. Trump is a servant of God. That's what he said. Just chill out and think about that. He said God is in charge. Trump is a servant of God. What? You know in that movie Django where Leonardo DiCaprio played the slave master and Samuel L. Jackson played the good house slave? This is what this is between Hamza and Zayc to me. Because as I said, these statements he made sound like something a white supremacist would say, straight off their talking points card. And Zayc came right along after and wrote a whole article on how he's 100% sure that Hamza doesn't have a racist bone in his body. How much work he's done with the blacks and all kind of other stuff. Which now explains to me why Zayc didn't come to try to use these Quranic verses in regards to Bill Cosby. And explains again to me why he's coming to the defense of Zaddy. But man, please, I don't know, but this puts him in the suspect category to me. This man is a supposed scholar. And as I said on my Twitter page before, a real scholar has taqwa. That's the first prerequisite of being a true scholar. You can have all the knowledge in the world, go to the greatest Islamic institutes and colleges and have all the knowledge and get your degree. But if you have no taqwa, you're not a true scholar. So he knows, Zayc Shaker, he knows and understands about white supremacy and its systematic oppression of black people in America. Zayc and Hamza Yusuf both know about this. Yet he only speaks about it, Hamza Yusuf, he only speaks about it basically being blacks' faults. And this is a white supremacist's favorite thing to do. And he knows about the story of Musa. Musa, when he came to Firaun, didn't say to the children of Israel, hey, what about Israelite on Israelite crime? Musa didn't say that. No, he came directly to Firaun and said, you, Firaun, are oppressing my people. Let them go. You know who brought up Israelite on Israelite crime? Or you know who brought up the crimes of Musa and how he should really be dead because you did that crime? Firaun did. He said, hey, don't forget you killed that soldier of ours. Don't forget that. It wasn't Israelite or Israelite crime, but he's the one who brought up his crimes as an excuse to justify not believing in him and justifying that we should possibly lock you up or kill you. So it's a similarity here. He said, hey, don't forget that you killed one of our people, and we still got that over your head. Then you had your suspected homie come and support you and apologize for you, basically. Hamza didn't even apologize himself for those statements that I read earlier. Someone with the Tumblr page called Struggling Hijabi, all one word, wrote about this incident. They said, quote, all that was required was a sincere apology, an admission of insensitivity, an acknowledgement of the fact that you don't have the understanding or cultural sensibilities to speak to such issues. But that's not what happened. Instead, you'd crawl deeper into the cave of black pathology by saying the breakdown of the black family is the greatest issue facing black Americans, not racism. And here I'll say not white supremacy. This Struggling Hijabi Tumblr page continues. I must ask, how on earth can any person with any bit of black history under their belt discuss the tearing apart of black families, which is a real thing, without centering the structural racism that was put in place specifically to do just that? There is no clear picture of one without the other. Otherwise, you end up sending the message that black men and black women are being incarcerated at alarming rates just because. That's black pathology. You end up sending the message that black people who are killed and mistreated by others and themselves just because. More black pathology. You end up sending the message that black people tend to be less financially stable just because. Another statement powered by black pathology. But really what she means here is these statements are powered by a white supremacist thought. But people be scared to say that. Just wild. This type of thinking, they continue, this type of thinking attaches itself to existing ideologies of racism, white supremacy, and supports them as they grow, further blotting out black humanity. Ergo, it is a very big deal. End quote on her statement. So yeah, Hamza is on the suspected list and his homie Zayd is on the suspected coon list. And they both on the house Muslims list, definitely. And Zayc Institute is out of here. And then to wrap up his racist, suspected racist tirade, Hamza Yusuf says that sectarianism is what unintelligent people do. He was referring this to his old statements of not coming together with the M.A.B.I.A group who try to say there is a prophet after Muhammad, which is clear major kufr. So he's calling for us to unite with hypocrites and call and see them as Muslims, which is totally against the Quran. Truth separates. So there will always be a separation of truth and falsehood. When you want people to come together with falsehood, then you want them to not be on the truth. Zay, you didn't speak about the white supremacist hand signals being thrown up. You haven't spoken out against Agent Orange and his racism. You didn't speak out against the allegations against Bill. You don't speak out for when innocent, unarmed black men are gunned down in the street. Nah. You know what? Actually, he did. Zay did kind of speak out during the Stephon Clark situation. But even then, your focus started out about being about black people who are the ones mainly targeted. You went off and then said, oh, it's not only black folks, but white folks too, and brown folks too are getting gunned down by the police, which basically says, hey, this is bad, but let's not call out white supremacy now. Because, hey, white folks are getting shot too. Same thing you did when this Caucasian dude, Kavanaugh, gets in some hot water. You come saying, well, I'm not going to vote for him, but hey, take it easy on him, and here's some Quranic verses on why you should. Like, get out of here. I remember back in the day when I first became Muslim, Hamza Yusuf used to be on point. Like, he was really, even though he couldn't really grow a beard, he was really trying to grow a beard. Like, it was crazy. He was really, and that's not that doesn't mean every scholar has to have a beard, but he was sincere about trying to grow his beard, but then he realized he couldn't grow it, so he started shaving the sides off. But he was really on point. Like, he still has this one lecture up where he was going in on the New World Order and using the Quranic verses to explain to us the New World Order and the one-eye symbolism and all these symbols that they use. Like, that was a powerful lecture. I was like, wow, this dude is deep. He was calling out the M.A.B.I.A groups and saying that they're not true Muslims and things of that nature. I was like, wow, he's killing it. And then somewhere along the line after 9/11, this dude started flipping. When I seen him in the House of Representatives, I think that's where he was at, giving that speech about 9/11, and then after that, he just started going downhill, bro. And I don't know what happened. But that's that, man. We gonna end this on a cool note though, and give a shout out to the brother Khabib. Allahu Akbar. He defeated McGregor this weekend. Allah brings down the arrogant. What was wild was he made McGregor tap out. And I guess McGregor's crew had been insulting him and the Islamic faith over and over, calling him a terrorist, offering him alcohol, etc. I guess, the brother Khabib had enough, and he jumped over the cage, jumped in the crowd, and started fighting his boys. And then back in the ring, boys was tussling too. It wasn't a good look. And they tried to use it to his disadvantage to punish him, even though McGregor had done worse. like the bus incident, and was kind of turned a blind eye to and kind of praised by Dana White. And I ain't glad at Khabib for doing that, but I ain't mad at him either. Me, I probably would have won the fight, made sujood of thankfulness as a way of dawah because the whole world is watching, and would have ignored their mere words. That would have been more profound. And then since I didn't mess up, my speech afterwards by fighting, I would have praised Allah and His Messenger in my speech and said La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah and gave a quick explanation of what it means and thanked the league and kept it pushing. But tensions were already high, and vengeance and testosterone and adrenaline was pumping. So, I mean, hey, I understand. Hopefully they don't try to penalize him too severely. I heard McGregor and his boys didn't want to press charges, so we'll see. But then afterward, I seen McGregor post something that said, chilling in Jahannam, and he had his little gallon of water bottle. But see, that lets me know that he researching Islam. Your average non-Muslim does not know what Jahannam means. That lets me know that he's researching Islam, and he's basically giving himself self-dawah by trying to be funny. So may Allah guide him as well. But what this did show is the ghira, the jealousy for the deen a sincere Muslim has. It's only so much far you can push a person, man. Especially when you're insulting their religion that they've been following their whole life and they're sincere to. So, alhamdulillah. And you know what Khabib said when he was about to fight him? He said, inshallah, I will defeat him tomorrow. That was already the win right there. But I'm out of here, y'all. Until next time, inshallah. Y'all be safe out there. Don't forget to donate. Hit the subscribe, like button, share this. Leave a comment. Give me thumbs up. All of that good stuff. Thank you for your time. This is Bilal Abdullah of M.A.B.I.A, Muslim and Black in America. I'm out. Peace.